Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another live Manchester United news and transfer news show on the channel. Lots and lots to talk about. Fabrizio Romano has come out with a transfer update. We're going to go into the main screen because we've got a bit of lag here anyway, so sorry if it's a bit pixely there. But Fabrizio Romano's come out with a transfer update. We've got news on Cody Gakpo. We've got news on Jeremy Frimpong. I don't know if I said that right. We've got news on a guy again from the American league called John Duran, a young striker that Manchester United are in for. We've got a lot of transfer news, and Edwin Van Der Sar has come out and publicly addressed the rumours about him coming to United, his Manchester United plan. Will he be linking up with Ten Hag or not? We will also be discussing the Chelsea game, the wider context of the Chelsea game. You guys getting your thoughts on the Chelsea game, me talking my thoughts on the Chelsea game, Casemiro, Sancho. Like, is there a problem with Sancho? Do we need to be getting Cody Gakpo, who got a 10 out of 10 on SofaScore today? Fuck me, he was good today. I didn't watch the game. I just looked at the stats and went, fuck me, he's got to be amazing. I feel like one of those now. Because it was funny, Statman Dave, when Fred had that awful game versus, who was it? Newcastle. He starts putting out his stats going, oh, Fred was brilliant. It's like, no, he's not. But no, Gakpo's stats were brilliant. I'm not get out like I watched the game, but I've watched Gakpo before, and he's a brilliant player. But we've got loads of little things to talk about, loads of news to talk about. You know, Eric Ten Hag, Ronaldo situation. Will Ronaldo be allowed to return to training tomorrow? Ten Hag says before, basically, what's the situation with Ronaldo is Ten Hag's going to have a conversation with Ronaldo tonight or tomorrow morning to decide if he's allowed back to train with the first team or not. Is he going to be punished further? Has Ronaldo have enough time to reflect on his actions? That's what's going to be going on, and that's what tomorrow's video is going to be covering. And we'll also talk a little bit about what Roy Keane said on Ronaldo. Are you guys with Roy Keane and Rio, or are you with Ten Hag on the Ronaldo situation? So first of all, make sure you smash that like button. Second of all, make sure you subscribe down below if you're new. Third of all, of course, share the video. But let's get into the first story. So the first story is come out from Romano today, only about 20 minutes ago. So fresh news, guys, saying Manchester United sent scouts more than 3 times to watch performances of Jeremy Frimpong. They are following him and they know him very well. Obviously, he's a Dutch player, so we can only assume that he's known very well. And I do want to thank David for the super sticker here as well. Big up, David. Only just in that now. But, you know, we're in for a right back, and I want to get into more interesting news, but we've been linked to this player a few times. Romano's linked us to this player. He's a Dutch player. Man United need a right back. We know Ten Hag wants a right back. Could this be something potential in January? Maybe. He doesn't rate round Bissaka. There's an overemphasis on Dalot. But the thing is, there's a report that came out today saying Real Madrid want Dalot. Real Madrid and Barcelona are very interested in Dalot. Dalot's been playing well. I'm sure he's going to be offered a contract extension at United, and Ten Hag's long-term plan is Dalot, but I think he'll want someone to challenge Dalot. If you look at the situation with Luke Shaw and Malacia, I think that's a really good situation going on with Luke Shaw and Malacia, because I tweeted this today. Since, you know, Malacia came into the team, Luke Shaw had to up his game, and Luke Shaw's come back and been fucking brilliant. He got the assist for the Casemiro goal. It's actually, I think there's a statistic, like an expected threat statistic, that Luke Shaw's been United's most creative outlet the last few games, because we are lacking the creativity. Luke Shaw's been fantastic since Malacia's came in and rivaled him. And I think Ten Hag wants to do the same with Dalot. Dalot's been great, but he's got no competition. We need a right back in there that's going to compete with Dalot. And if you're in a place where you've got Dalot, Malacia, Luke Shaw, and Frimpong to cover 4 bases at fullback, that's massive, because a lot of people don't realise that fullbacks are so integral to Ten Hag's system. He wants his fullbacks to overload the attack and almost be like wingers. He almost wants to play a 2-3-5 formation, which is what he did against Spurs. And one of the reasons we're so good against Spurs is because the fullbacks went forward. Now, you could look at, on the other hand, now Varane's injured, Lindelof's going to be coming into the team. Will we be getting further forward as a team? Probably not. But, you know, you can tell Ten Hag wants a right back. We know Ten Hag wants a ball-carrying midfielder. But most importantly, Ten Hag wants an attacker. He wants a striker, but he also wants a winger. He wants Cody Gakpo, someone versatile in January. Cody Gakpo wants to move. But he's also looking at a striker. John Duran is the player that Manchester United, according to a decent source in Reluctant Nico, have been making contact with, which we're going to dive into. We're also going to dive into what Van Der Sar said on the United move. Van Der Sar's come out publicly and spoke about the United move. But I want to quickly talk about Cody Gakpo, guys, before anything. And then we'll talk Chelsea, then we'll talk Van Der Sar, then we'll talk the striker target, then we'll talk United long-term plans, we'll talk the good, the bad. But I really want to get into the Cody Gakpo news, because I find it really, really interesting as well. And we know from Romano Cody Gakpo is available in January. We know from Romano that Manchester United, well, I say Manchester United, Ten Hag wants Cody Gakpo, and we know that Cody Gakpo has come out publicly and confirmed he wants to move to United. We know that also he'll be sold by Thingamajiggy. PSV will be willing to sell him, and all of that. So I think we're in a good position with Cody Gakpo. Steve makes a good point here with Roy Keane said he would be a bit worried if Ronaldo was happy to come off, but you can't defend him refusing to come on and leave the stadium. Roy, yeah, you can't defend Ronaldo's actions, but are the pundits being a bit biased to Ronaldo? We will talk about Ronaldo later in the show. Do United need Ronaldo or not? Should he have gone in the summer? All of that stuff. But I want to quickly show you something on Cody Gakpo. Like, guys, look at this. Cody Gakpo's stats. I mean, this is madness. Not Cody Gakpo. Sorry, not Cody Gakpo's stats. We'll go PSV Sofa score. Let's go and look at PSV's most recent game, because this is absolutely insane here. I saw this today and I couldn't believe my eyes. So PSV, who did they play today? 23rd of October. Who? Let me find it. Cody Gakpo. There we go. So Cody Gakpo played against this side today. And this is Cody Gakpo's stats from today's match against PSV Groenberg. So I've definitely said that name wrong, but let me zoom in on this for you guys. This is, look at Cody Gakpo, 10.0 on SofaScore. Look at this. In this game, he got 2 assists. He had 80 touches of the ball. He had 19 accurate passes. But look at that, 11 key passes, 27 crosses, 2 big chances created, 2 shots on target, 1 shot off target, 5 shots, 4 dribbles completed, ground duels won. But even defensively, won 10 ground duels. He's a winger. He won 10 ground duels. He won 5 fouls. He made a tackle as well. But look at the statistics, 10.0 rating for Cody Gakpo. This is the player Ten Hag wants to bring in. And he's absolutely rocking it up with PSV at the moment. Absolutely rocking it up. And he's going to be available for around 30-40 million pounds. And I think, you know, if you look at United and if you look at how United are really struggling to score goals at the moment, Manchester United's biggest problem is goals. Leicester City were bottom of the league before they battered Wolves 4-0 today, have more goals than us this season. United's biggest problem is goals. But Cody Gakpo, you've got to play that's scoring goals, but being a brilliant creative outlet. I mean, look at these 9.7, 10.0 ratings. He's too good for the Eredivisie. And you look into his statistics, yeah. He's played 11 games, 11 started, but he's got 9 goals in 11 games this season. He's averaging a goal every 95 minutes. But also, if you're looking at other metrics like assists, 9 assists, he's got 18 goal contributions in 11 starts this season, Cody Gakpo in the Eredivisie. Just to put that into context, Cody Gakpo has more goal contributions this season, only a fourth of the way into the season, than Anthony had the whole of last season. Now, it's not all about stats. It's not all about that. But what I'm saying is he already has better stats than Anthony last season. He's a fourth of the way through the Eredivisie season. That is how good Cody Gakpo is. And he's literally begging for this move. Is this player value higher or lower? It's got to be higher than 24 million. Good. But he's got to come. We are not scoring goals. We are struggling to score goals. Sancho was looking dead down the left-hand side. He can also fill in as a striker. We've got injury problems. There's going to be a lot of games after the World Cup. This player is begging to move to United. This player wants the Man United move. PSV said they can go to United if United give them an appropriate amount of money. Ten Hag wants this player. Ten Hag needs a player that can score goals, because Ten Hag's coaching 3-4-0 wins. And when Anthony's missing chances, Martial's injured, Rashford's missing chances, and issues with Ronaldo, Cody Gakpo to United for 30 million in January makes so much sense, which is probably why it's not going to happen, because Man United don't seem to do logical deals. As soon as a deal is logical, Man United are like, no, we don't spend in January. And this is what annoys me about United. And David Ornstein did say if Ronaldo leaves, it's very likely United will spend in January, because the money we'll save on the wage bill if Ronaldo leaves gives United the ability to spend in January. But the thing that really annoys me about United is they like to forget that this January market exists. They could have got Moises Caicedo for 4 million. They didn't get him. They could have got Julian Alvarez for 17 million. They didn't get him. They had opportunities to get Haaland 2 years ago. They had opportunities to get Julian Alvarez. They had opportunities to get Diaz and Vlahovic. Look at all the players. Diaz, Vlahovic and Julian Alvarez were all available this January. Rangnick suggested them. Board said no. Last January, Moises Caicedo was suggested. Board said no. The January before, Haaland was suggested. Board said no. Every single one of those players that United could have signed in January the last 3 seasons, we'd be killing for in our team right now. And Cody Gakpo is another one where he's going to go in January. He's too good. There's no way clubs are going, he's going to be at PSV until the summer. People will be snapping up in January because of how good he's been. Real Madrid are getting interested. Arsenal are getting interested. Even Man City are getting fucking interested in Cody Gakpo. And this is where United need to look at themselves and go, shit, we need to go and get this deal done. He's come out publicly, he wants to move. Our manager wants to move. The World Cup's coming up. If I was United, I'd get some pre-agreement to sign Cody Gakpo. If I was United, I'd have some pre-agreement to go and sign Cody Gakpo, and I'd do that now and do what Chelsea do, because we are not scoring goals. Ten Hag is coaching a 4-0 win versus Spurs. We get 2 goals. Ammonia, we won 1-0. Ten Hag coached about a 5-0 win. Newcastle, it was 0-0. Ten Hag coached a 3-0 win. Spurs 2-0. Ten Hag coached a 4-0 win. If you look at the chances, we did drop off in the second half versus Chelsea, but Ten Hag coached a win there as well. Now, Kevin makes a good point here. Says Gakpo is a good player, yes, but oh, my mouse is not working. It won't let me click on your comment, Kevin. Why is that not? It won't let me click on your comment. But Kevin said Gakpo is a good player, yes, but can he be that striker? I think United should go for Matheus Cunha, who's more of a striker than Gakpo. I agree Cunha's more of a striker, but I just think in terms of we've got to get what Ten Hag wants, and this is what Ten Hag wants. And I think my thought process is Ten Hag knows realistically he's not going to be able to get a long-term striker replacement to the summer. And Ten Hag, if he looks at the United squad, he knows he doesn't just need a striker, he needs a winger. But at least for Cody Gakpo, you've got a striker that could maybe rotate and alternate across the front threes. And I think Eric... Wait, we are back, people. I'm not sure what happened there, but we are back. We absolutely lagged out, so I'm hoping that it is all right. I'm hoping it hasn't cut out too bad. Sorry about that. But as I was saying, we are back, people. But fucking, like, what's going on here? I swear to God, it has to kick me out at the worst time ever. I think the Wi-Fi just crashed and was like, fuck this. Or there was a StreamYard glitch and it's kicked me out. But what I was saying about Cody Gakpo is he, he's not a striker. We do need a striker. A striker needs to be Manchester United's #1 transfer priority. Of course it does, 100%. But if you look at the strikers that United want, there will be very much long-term players to replace Ronaldo. There'll be your Ornsteins, there'll be your Ivan Tonys, there'll be your Vlahovic, there'll be your 70, 80 million pound players. And that won't be accessible in January. That will be a summer thing. And you look at Ten Hag and you go, we could probably get top 4 right now. If you look at the statistic that United have played 9 out of the 11 players currently in the top 4. Not 9 out of 11. Sorry, Manchester United have played 9 out of the 11 teams currently in the top 11. We've played, all the teams we've played, bar 2, are in the top 11 of the Premier League. We played every team in the top 11 of the Premier League but Fulham. Every team in the top 11 of the Premier League but Fulham. If you look, Ten Hag's only 1 point off 4th. That's unbelievable. That considering all the teams you've played, considering you played so many difficult teams, Eric Ten Hag is only 1 point off 4th place. So that says to me, as a United fan, okay, you've got to back Ten Hag. He could generally get 4th place. We're 1 point off 4th. We played these difficult sides. Martial's basically been injured the whole season. We haven't had a striker, and we're sitting basically 1 point off 4th. If I'm the Glazers, if I'm the Man United board, I look at that situation and I go, Gakpo's not a striker, but if we get Ten Hag another attacker in that can score goals, that can create, Ten Hag could maybe get 4th. And if Ten Hag gets 4th because we spend a little bit extra in January, that means we get more money for finishing in the Champions League. That's how I'd look at it if I was a Glazer. And then I'd be thinking, okay, summer. Now, summer, you've got your Vlahovic, your Ivan Tonys, your Osimhens. That will be the long-term striker replacement. And in my opinion, United need to get Cody Gakpo in January because he can play on the wing, he can fill in at striker, he adds goals. We're not scoring goals. That's our biggest problem. We're not scoring goals, we're not creating chances. He adds that. He adds depth, he adds competition, he adds everything we need in that sense. So you bring Cody Gakpo in January. Could he make us clinch top 4, which brings us more money for the summer? And then in the summer, you go, all right, Frankie de Jong. Then in the summer, you go, all right, maybe Ivan Toney, maybe Osimhen, maybe Vlahovic. I think it'll be Ivan Toney. Maybe go Ivan Toney. Then in the summer, you go the right back situation, and then in the summer, you go to the goalkeeper. But if you get Gakpo in, that gives you the summer to focus on a striker and not a striker and a winger. Because I still think we need a striker and a winger because Jadon Sancho has gone dead right now. So you get Gakpo in, that helps, gets us to the summer. Ivan Toney, boom. Frankie de Jong, boom. Diogo Costa in goal, boom. Frimpong at right back, boom. Potentially another centre back because Varane's made a glass, boom. That's what United need to do. But unfortunately, the Glazers, as I've always said, they seem to act like the January transfer window doesn't exist. The Glazers have this mindset of, let's just pretend the January transfer window isn't a thing. Let's just pretend the January transfer window doesn't exist. And they will regret it massively as well. People saying they want Ivan Toney. Sorry that the stream cut out earlier. I honestly don't know what was going on. I think it's because there's been lightning and thunder. It must have caused the Wi-Fi or the power to just switch out for a second. But Twisted said we need another right back. We saw against City, Delo picked up a yellow card early and you couldn't be aggressive. We do. My thought process is, and let me know your thoughts on that. If something happens to Delo, I think I'd play Malacia at right back because he played right back in the Europa League game, Malacia, for a little bit, and he was quite good as well. Striker and fullback can actually cross is what we need to rebuild. And if Ten Hag wants this person, then buy the player. Eric sees potential in this player. Exactly. And Pascal, I want to quickly adapt on your point here as well. You know, every one of Ten Hag's signings has been brilliant. Look at how good Lissandro Martinez has been. He's been a tank. Eriksen's a good player. Malacia has brought that competition out of Luke Shaw. You also look at how good Anthony's been. He's been our biggest threat in attack. You look at how good Casemiro's been. All of Ten Hag's signings have been really, really good. So if I go, okay, Ten Hag's Martinez from the Eredivisie has been a beast. I go, yeah, let's get this Gakpo guy because, you know, Real Madrid and City are looking at him. So that's also a positive side. Glaze hacking your stream because driving the January transfer. Yeah, probably because I'm talking about us spending in January. The Steam gets brought down as well. But I do apologise that the stream got cut down. It's really annoying because everyone started. My numbers went up. I shot up like 60 viewers in a minute, and then the stream crashed. I was like, for God's sake, worst time. Our most important signing needs to be Frimpong. If Delo doesn't get back up, we could be screwed. Yeah, we can't go back to Wan-Bissaka as well, and I've been told to slow down, so we will. And if the board provide us with funds necessary to strengthen the team in January, sure, we can get second place because we don't have a debt like Arsenal and anyone else turning around us. Ambitious there. I think, I'll be honest, I never thought Man United were going to get top four. I never thought Manchester United were going to get anywhere near top four this season. I thought it was going to be a 6th or 7th, really slow rebuild team. But Ten Hag's actually done more than I thought this season in the sense of you can see slow improvements and United slowly playing the way Eric Ten Hag wants them to play. And if you look at the Premier League table here, and I'm definitely not making the Premier League table small enough so you can't see Liverpool. There we go. You can't see Liverpool. I know, I've been a dick there. But if you look at the Premier League table here and you go, we've played all 11 games have been against teams in the top 11 but Fulham. So we've played all the difficult teams in the top 11 bar Fulham. We are sitting here having lost the first 2 games of the season horrifically, sitting here 1 point off 4th. And if you think about it, realistically, we deserve to beat Newcastle, which would put Newcastle on 20 points, on us on 22 points, and would have us sitting in 4th, 1 point behind Tottenham, with a game in hand, which would realistically, if we beat our game in hand against West Ham, right now, I think United deserve to be in 3rd. Like, generally, I think right now, United deserve to be in 3rd, having played 9 out of the 11 teams in the top 11, because obviously we haven't played Fulham and we're the other team in the top 11 this season. We haven't had it easy. We've had a very difficult start to the season. We're sitting at 1 point off 4th. Now, it could all go downhill. We could all lose to West Ham and all of that as well. But I've been so impressed with what I've seen by Eric Ten Hag. I'm seeing him coaching wins. I'm seeing him doing good things with the squad. And I actually think for the first time, there is a chance we get top 4 this season. And even before the season started, I said, I don't think top 4 is realistic. I said, I think Liverpool, Spurs, City and Arsenal are so much better than us, and Chelsea is so much better than us. Chelsea spent a shit ton of money and not that much better than us. Tottenham are playing the most unsustainable football, drop points today, and Liverpool, I can't even see them here. Shite. So we do sit here in a position where actually I think it's so important we spend in January. And I think if only the Glazers would turn the head on and go, shit, if we spend in January, we might get top 4, which means Champions League money. And it benefits the Glazers if we spend in January because they can go on and blab on about the Champions League money they get. And I just think this is Ten Hag is doing something good. I can see it as well. We do play West Ham at the weekend, but it's a tough game as well. And obviously, as Ade says, green and gold to the club is sold. But I can't see Liverpool on the table here, guys. I don't know if anyone can see the Liverpool as well. But the game in hand is against Palace. Yeah, and Palace is always a tough game, though. I think it's Palace away as well, which, I don't know, when Selhurst Park is always a very difficult game in my thing as well. And signing players is normally easier said than done, unless you're Man City. But yeah, with United, the situation is we should sign players. We have a very good player that wants to come to United that Ten Hag wants to buy that will be available in January. Now, the thing about Cody Gakpo is he's available in January. PSV are willing to sell and cash in on him. He wants the move. Ten Hag wants him. From Fabrizio Romano said Cody Gakpo to United is possible in January. It depends on the Glazers. Now, David Ornstein did say this. David Ornstein, and I will go back to what David Ornstein said. He kept reminding us and kept saying, Ornstein, that if Ronaldo leaves, it's very likely United will sign an attacker, sign a replacement because of the money Ronaldo saves on the wage bill. Now, iPaper Sport came out and said that the chances of Ronaldo leaving are highly likely. United might even let him leave on a free in January. They think they need to cut ways. There's no point keeping a player at Ronaldo at the club if they don't want to be here, and it's going to disrupt what Ten Hag's trying to build in terms of mentality, in terms of changing the culture at Manchester United. You know, it's this whole kind of situation. And I sit here and I look at it and I think, you know what? I think there's a chance Ronaldo could go in January. And if I'm listening off David Ornstein, if Ronaldo goes, we buy someone in January. Now, obviously, we're being linked to Frimpong, the right back, but we would sign an attacking replacement if Ronaldo went. The only thing that's worrying me is if Cody Gakpo comes up and has a killer World Cup, he goes from 30 million to 60 million. Because if you're PSV and you go, they gave Ajax 100 million for Anthony, he's been brilliant at the World Cup. He's got better stats than Ajax this season, and Man United are offering me 30 million. If you're PSV, you're going to ask for more than 30 million. Now, that is my only fear with Gakpo. I think I would pay up to 50 million for him, but I think if this price tag goes to the 50 million, you got to go, I got to go, Now, I would still pay anything for Gakpo because of how good he's been. We just looked at the stats today. 27 crosses, 11 key passes in a game, 2 assists today, carrying PSV at the moment. You know, he's such a fantastic player, but you just don't know with this board. But it's such an obvious signing to do. And Ornstein said that United can buy players if Ronaldo leaves. And if I'm being honest, I think the whole January transfer window depends on if Ronaldo can find a move or not. Because from what I'm hearing, the situation with Ronaldo is if he can find a suitable move, Ten Hag won't get in the way of letting Ronaldo leave. Now, Ten Hag ideally wants Ronaldo to stay because he wants as many players as he can have with Martial's injury, the lack of depth crisis. But if Ronaldo leaves, that would allow Ten Hag to bring in someone like Gakpo. Ten Hag's ideal Ronaldo replacement, according to sources, seems to be Ivan Toney. However, I don't see him being available for the summer, and I think Ivan Toney would be a bit too expensive for the Glazers to pay in January because we know the Glazers don't want to spend money in January, and if they do spend money in January, I can't see them spending anything big, especially considering the price of the summer window. And all of that. Alice said I wouldn't rub off Liverpool just yet as well. True, Liverpool could always get back into it as well. And Daniel says 9 goals and 9 assists for Gakpo this season so far. I mean, it's insane, Cody Gakpo stats. Absolutely insane. He's absolutely been balling up this season, Cody Gakpo. I mean, I just think it's such an obvious deal. And I really hope United just don't be like idiots and miss out on a deal that, like this because they're being idiots. I mean, when are United not being idiots? Let's be honest. Guys, keep smashing that like button. Please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new and share the video. I want to get into the Van Der Sar story. I want to talk about the Chelsea game. I want to get into the live chat and all of that as well. This was obviously the report that came out that United have sent scouts to look more than 3 times at the Leverkusen right back, Jeremy Frimpong, who's 21. This could be competition for the low. This was the main story coming out from Fabrizio Romano today. But we are going to bounce into this story here. And then we're going to bounce into the Van Der Sar story. So this came out from a very good source that United have made contact to sign Chicago Fire striker John Duran, 18, and are keen to buy him. He's valued at £10 million. United are keen to buy this young sort of MLS wonder striker, meant to be the next big thing. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know who this John Duran is. I might, if we get linked to him again by Romano, by Ornstein, I will go and do some research on who he is. I'm waiting for people to talk about who he is. But United scouting are really looking at young, up-and-coming strikers because I guess we don't really have any in the academies in the sense of Garnacho, Palestri. They're all wingers. I guess you've got Charlie McNeil coming through, but it's very hard to come through as a striker just yet. And United seem to be looking at young, long-term strikers. Does this mean we're not going to get a striker in the summer? No, of course United will go for someone like Ivan Toney in the summer. But United seem to be looking at this MLS guy that they might be going for in January, a striker. Now, I think he's the type of guy that would come into the team and do an Amad Diallo, and you probably won't really see him, maybe on the bench feature here and there. But I think it's potentially and maybe a January edition. But again, if it was a January edition, I don't think it would be someone that would relatively start for United as well. He is Colombian, but he's playing into America. That's what I mean. And Cody Gakpo had the nerve to get 2 assists in a 4-2 defeat to Groin. Yeah, can't pronounce the name. It's basically PSV lost 4-2 and Cody Gakpo got a 10.0 on SofaScore. It just said it all as well. And Gakpo doing well in the Eredivisie, but it's a poor quality league. It's not a guarantee. I agree. But when you're doing that well in the Eredivisie, sometimes you sit there and go, he's doing well in the Europa League. Sometimes you sit there and go, boom. But again, I guess Sancho was doing that well in the Bundesliga and he's come to the Premier League like boom. But I always think, and I'm just going to take a quick sip of water. With players like Cody Gakpo and that, I think if he's a player that the manager wants and the manager is envisioning him in his plan, they can work. Now, I think because Ten Hag wants Gakpo, has a plan for Gakpo, I feel like he's more likely to come over and work. Whereas with Jadon Sancho, he was just such an obvious signing to make, and Ollie was like, he's a good player, I'll have him. But I don't think Ollie ever took into account his system when he wanted to sign Sancho. I think Ollie's mindset was, he's a good player, I'll have him. Whereas I think, I think that Cody Gakpo is made for Ten Hag, if you get what I mean as well. Hopefully they'll look at Schick. Schick has been good at the moment, and we do need a striker. Guys, who are your top 3 striker options? Mine is still Vlahovic, Osimhen, and Ivan Toney, but let me know down below what striker you'd like Manchester United to sign. But I want to quickly get into the Van Der Sar story. So let me go click on my profile, because I think I liked it. If I can find it here. So Van Der Sar's come out and addressed the Manchester United links. And Edwin Van Der Sar said on the Man United links, it's never been that close, he told the Times. He said he's got a good relationship with the Man United board and had a fantastic 6 years in Manchester, but he's not finished at Ajax yet. Now, this is one of those things where it's an expected answer. He's basically saying he's got a great relationship with the Man United board. So that basically suggests that there's probably something in there, and there's probably a chance that it could happen. But he's saying it's not finished at Ajax yet. But remember, Ten Hag, when he was asked about the rumours of him going to United, said the exact same thing. He said, he likes United as a big club. He's honoured to be linked to it, but he's not done at Ajax yet. So it's a situation with Van Der Sar, that he's been asked on the United links. He talks about his good relationship with the Man United board and how he loved his 6 years in Manchester, but he's also saying, I'm not done with Ajax yet. And for me, he says, yes, it's never been that close. But for me, I see this there has been talks between United and Van Der Sar. It's probably not close at the moment, but it's something that could potentially happen in the coming years. Maybe Van Der Sar is going to see his contract out at Ajax, which ends next year. So maybe Van Der Sar will come in about a year's time when his contract at Ajax runs out, I think 2024. Maybe that's what the talks have been out. Maybe he's going to see his contract up at Ajax and then potentially move to United. But Van Der Sar obviously does talk about his good relationship with the United board. And I always think with Van Der Sar, although we've been linked to sporting directors and bringing someone in and we've stuck with the Woodwards, the Murters and the Arnolds, I always say we've got a better chance of getting Van Der Sar than someone like Paul Mitchell or Michael Edwards and other people we want, purely because Van Der Sar's an ex-player. And we know the Glazers, we know United have a thing about ex-players. They literally just suck all the ex-players off, basically. They love it. I mean, they even brought in Michael Keane, ex-player's brother, to come and do the finances. Oh, ex-player FC, kiss ass, ex-player. But that's what United love, an ex-player. And I think with Van Der Sar, I think it's a situation where with Ten Hag having a good relationship with Van Der Sar, with Van Der Sar having a good relationship with Man United, and Man United potentially thinking, if Van Der Sar spent very little money at Ajax and made profit, United might start looking at Van Der Sar and thinking about the profit Ajax have made, the business model Ajax, how they get players for cheap and sell them for a lot more. United might think, actually, if you're the Glazers and with the Super League coming up, because the Super League is going to be rebuilt, and you want to rebuild this United Super Team. If I'm sitting here and I'm the Glazers, I go, okay, we need to make some more money. Van Der Sar realistically is going to make me more money than Arnold and co, because Van Der Sar knows football, which means I can spend less money and get more success on the pitch, which means I can take more money out of dividends. Because the Glazers need that, because the Glazers want to keep United until they can get the Super League recreated. But if the Glazers keep having to spend and not getting much money back for it, they're going to have to sell a stake of United. But I think it would be a smart move for the Glazers to get Van Der Sar in, because I think he could spend less money and get more success on the pitch. But I think because he's an ex-player, because Ten Hag has a good relationship with him, I think Van Der Sar to United is something that I think needs to happen, because it would be good for the club. And I think it's something that could potentially happen. I know the Glazers don't like giving power up, but I think because he's an ex-player, because the Glazers might actually use their brain and go, oh my God, he didn't spend much money at Ajax and look how much money he made in sales. They might go, oh, let's actually have someone like this doing transfers and see how much more money we can generate in net profit and stuff. And I'm surprised the Glazers have never done that, because I don't think they've sat and realised that they probably spent more money than Man City, but the Man City squad is miles ahead of us. So I think for me, it's such an obvious thing getting Van Der Sar in, even from a business perspective. But the thing that makes me laugh about the Glazers is they're just such shit businessmen. You actually look at them, they are just such shit businessmen as well. Big up Van Der Sar, though. Smash a like button if you'd like Van Der Sar at United. Make sure you subscribe if you're new as well. People did say Gakpo was invisible against Arsenal. Will he be able to do it against Premier League sides? But you've also got to remember Haaland was invisible in his first game in the Community Shield for Man City. And everyone said, oh, Haaland won't do it in the Premier League. You can't judge Gakpo off that one game against Arsenal, in my opinion, as well. Mark Nurse says, Ivan Toney is British and overrated. We need a young, hungry that Ten Hag wants. I don't think Ivan Toney's overrated, but I think that Osimhen and Vlahovic would be just as exciting as well. I mean, Haaland would be the ideal striker at United, but we know that's not going to happen. Why I like Ivan Toney, though, is that he can create chances. I'd quite like a striker at United that I feel like can create chances as well. People say Trossard could be a better option. Interesting. A lot of people going on Trossard as well. And but I think Ten Hag wants Gakpo, and I think Ten Hag wants Ivan Toney. Guys, please do smash the like button, and of course subscribe down below to add a sort of if you're new. I got a few stories to get into. I do want to touch on the Ronaldo situation, Ronaldo making an apology and all of that as well. I do want to talk into how the United squad morale is growing. I do want to talk into the Chelsea game, and I want to quickly touch upon the United team spirit and fighting spirit. Now, I did a video today, 5 things we learned from Manchester United 1, Chelsea 1. And one of the things I spoke about is the team spirit. United went 1-0 down, and the attitude, the body language, the fighting spirit after going 1-0 down was a brilliant response to make it 1-0. And Ten Hag came out post-match and said he was so happy with the response to the United players, how we went 1-0 down and we responded like that, blah, de, blah, de, blah. Such a good response, la, de, la, de, la. Luke Shaw comes out and says there is very positive signs that we are going in the right direction. You're starting to see more and more what the manager wants, and we're bringing that onto the pitch. And I completely agree with what Luke Shaw said. We've had Luke Shaw and Casemiro both come out in the last week and a half, basically coming out saying we can see what Ten Hag wants to do. It's going to take time, but step by step, day by day, we can see slowly what Ten Hag's trying to do, and we're slowly trying to bring it on the pitch in this rebuild. And what I love about this whole situation going on at United right now is the players buy into Ten Hag. You think a player as big as Ronaldo is telling Ten Hag, I'm not coming on, and causing an issue with Ten Hag, falling out with Ten Hag. You know, if this had happened under Jose when it was very toxic in the dressing room with Pogba, half the dressing room would have turned on Jose and would have backed Pogba. But this United team seem to like Ten Hag. They don't seem to be turning on Ten Hag despite incidents happening. They still seem to be playing for Ten Hag. They still believe in Ten Hag's system. And David Ornstein said these Man United players will not be throwing Ten Hag under the bus. If they're going to throw anyone under the bus, it'd be the executives. And that the attitude and mentality at United has completely changed since Ten Hag's come in. And they all buy into Ten Hag. They all buy into what he's trying to do. That Ten Hag's got the dressing room on his side. And I think that's a real positive. And I think the big thing I noticed in the game was actually the fighting spirit. You know, when we went 1-0 down to Brighton, when we went 1-0 down to Brentford, and when we went 1-0 down to Man City, the body language, it was like we'd given up already. It was like, oh, we're 1-0 down already. This is crap. This is the end. I give up. It felt like United had given up already so early. But in this game, we go 1-0 down, and I didn't feel like United gave up. I felt like United believed, and obviously they did believe because they got that goal in the end. They responded, and United believed in themselves. United believed they could get back in the Chelsea game, and they got that point, and getting that point felt like a win. But most importantly, getting that point was deserved. We definitely deserved that point versus Chelsea as well. And bringing the wrong ex-players in. I would love Roy Keane, Paul Scholes, and Rio in the coaching staff. I could think of nothing worse as well. Apparently, Leipzig could put Sesko up for sale. That's an interesting one as well. And how good is the player PR this year when Maguire's out of the squad? And Alice, should Erik Ten Hag have avoided the Ronaldo issue at the moment? I think Ten Hag did the right thing regarding the Ronaldo issue. Do you know what? It's been a great week. Gerrard's been embarrassed. Liverpool have lost. Spurs and Arsenal have dropped points. And Man United were all right versus Chelsea. And we got the win versus Tottenham. It's been a very good week as well. And the butcher, the man. I mean, we have to talk about Lisandro Martinez and how good Lisandro Martinez is. Like, guys, I actually, and I know this sounds crazy, and I know I say this a lot, but I actually can't get over how good Lisandro Martinez is. Like, he is insane, Lisandro Martinez. He is such a freaking baller. Like, 50 mil Ajax made us pay for him. Bloody hell. I feel like we're the ones that robbed Ajax. Lisandro Martinez is just so good on the ball, but I think it's that mentality. I think it's that, like, I don't know what it is about Lisandro, but, I mean, we'll show you the pictures. It's just this crazy attitude of, like, the passion. Like, look. Oh, sneeze. I'm sorry. Ooh. But he just went and grabbed some random guy in the crowd and started hugging him. Like, I thought it was absolute class. Like, if you look at this picture here, that is Lisandro Martinez there next to Anthony. He, like, full on just jumped into the crowd. Like, he's absolutely crazy. But what I love about Lisandro Martinez is this just the Chelsea in these pictures. He just gets stuck in. Like, he really, really gets stuck in. Like, he's not afraid. Like, literally jumping there into the crowd, like the passion, and he's just an absolute warrior. He's not afraid to get stuck in, and he was there to like beat up Mason Mount, and Luke Shaw was like, nah, you can't beat up Mason Mount, but he has that kind of Roy Keane fire in him. That he has that mentality that I feel like United need. You know, he's got that captain mentality, and I sit here and go, this guy could be a captain. He's got that fire in him. And the Ajax players have come out and said how much they miss Lisandro Martinez. And Jurriën Timber said that Lisandro Martinez made sure he was always switched on in defence. If Jurriën Timber made a mistake in defence, Lisandro Martinez would shout at him like, "What the fuck you doing, bitch?" and like scream at him. And Jurriën Timber said, "Oh, it kept me alert." You know, Lisandro Martinez is that ruthless guy, the butcher, the dog, as people would call him. He's got that thing in him where he's a bit fiery, he's a bit feisty. You don't mess with him. He's passion, he's energy, but he's everything that United were crying out for last season. If you looked at us last season, we were flat. Where was the passion? Where was everything from United last season? It was completely flat. And not only has he got the right mentality, Lisandro Martinez, but he's got that right attitude. He's really got that something in him where you're just like, don't mess with him. And what I like about Lisandro Martinez is all the stories we were reading. Remember, I said this in my video the other day. We're reading up on so many stories about how Lisandro Martinez at halftime versus Man City was the most vocal person in the dressing room, screaming at his teammates, saying, "That's not good enough, 4-0 down to Man City halftime." After he lost 6-3 to Man City the next day, Lisandro Martinez seemed to be the most vocal in training, screaming at his teammates. Like, he's new. English isn't his first language, but he's still the most vocal guy in the dressing room. The guy that shouts and screams at everyone. The guy that wants the best. The guy that standards are so high. And I think that's why Ten Hag's really grown into Lisandro Martinez, because he's not only is he brilliant on the pitch, not only is he brilliant on the ball, not only has he been fantastic for United, but he's got those high standards. He almost bloody beat up Mason Mount yesterday. Someone said regarding Lisandro Martinez, do they think he gets away with more because he's short? Like, he can be more aggressive because he's short. I don't know, but I love that he's aggressive. I love that he gets stuck in. Like here, getting right stuck in on Mount. I think, we need that. I remember the Liverpool game, he got right stuck in on Salah. And, I think, the one thing that frustrates me about Maguire the most is, one, just the idiocy of how Maguire deals himself off the pitch. But two, the one thing I know about Maguire is because he's slow, he backs away from players. When players are running at Maguire, he kind of backs away. Maguire looks scared. Lisandro Martinez gives me that Vidic vibe of he's like, nah, I don't give a fuck. Let me deal with this. And he's like not scared. Again, I think that is the energy that was needed so much at United and is needed so much at United. And I do love Martinez for that. And as Addy says, Martinez for captain. Like, Martinez for me is a captain. Like, Martinez and Casemiro have that captain's energy in them. And I feel like in Maguire's absence, Maguire and Casemiro seem to be the players that have really taken over the United dressing room with that, that captain thing in him as well. Hannibal is playing well for Birmingham City. You should do a watch along for Birmingham City. I've not watched any Birmingham City matches, but I have been hearing that Hannibal, who's on loan at Birmingham City, has been absolutely brilliant for them. Apparently, he's been really impressive on loan. So that will be a good player coming back that could potentially play in that box-to-box role for Birmingham City. But I might do a scout report video on how the young players are doing on loan. But I've not watched a lot of our players on loan. But I do know that Hannibal is doing very well on his loan spell as well. Only Leeds and Southampton ordered Gakpo. United, Ten Hag wanted him, but United didn't want to spend the money. But I think right now, Lisandro Martinez has got to be like the favourite player, hasn't he? He's just got that everything, Lisandro Martinez. He is just a baller. He's not afraid to get stuck in. He's vicious. He's got that captain mentality. And as I said, Lisandro Martinez commands the United dressing room. We're hearing from dressing room sources and from players that Lisandro Martinez, when you're losing and when they're not playing well, he's like Ten Hag. He's vocal in that dressing room. He has high standards, and I think I like that as well. And the Martinez headed to Anthony was the highlight for me yesterday. Yeah, Martinez almost got an assist yesterday. The thing about Martinez, he's actually one of our best players out of possession because he's a defender, but he's one of our best players in possession as well. And you think, everyone's talking about his height, his lack of physicality, and I've barely noticed it as well. Barely noticed. Ahmad's doing well at Sunderland. He started a bit iffy, but he is growing as well. And people say Casemiro isn't a good pass on the ball, but he's proving everyone wrong. I want to talk about this show, Cat Khan. You make a very good point here. I think a lot of us were saying, Casemiro off the ball will solve our problems, but he's not going to solve our problems on the ball. And while United still have problems on the ball, I still think we need a Frankie de Jong type profile to play next to Casemiro, progressive passer. Yeah, Casemiro is proving everyone wrong. A lot of people said, yeah, Casemiro is great off the ball, but what's he going to do on the ball for United? And the more I think about it, and the more I really analyse the situation, I do sit here and I do kind of think, actually, regarding the Casemiro situation, regarding everything going on with Casemiro, Manchester United and all of that, do you think that people underestimated Casemiro because Modric and Kroos got all the highlights at Madrid? maybe Casemiro didn't need to be doing all that passing at Real Madrid because he had Modric and Kroos to do it for him. Whereas at United, there's a more emphasis on him passing because, he's got, you go from Kroos and Casemiro to an Eriksen out of position and a Bruno that can have good games and bad games. And I think actually Casemiro's probably always been a top passer and very good on the ball. But because of Kroos and Modric taking the highlights on the ball, he probably didn't get the credit he deserved. And when he's gone to United and he's not playing with Kroos and Modric, but he's still putting up great defensive performance. But on the ball, he's bringing a lot more than what I saw him bring at Real Madrid. And I look at Casemiro and I did a match reaction on Casemiro today. I did a 5 things we learned today, and I just think Casemiro is levels above. Like, he's absolutely levels above everything we got at United because it's just his ability to read the game. It's just the intellectual side of his game, the ability to read the game, the ability to pick up ball, the ability to transition the ball from defence to attack. Like, if something happens to Casemiro and we have to go to McTominay at DM, you'll notice us go back to counter-attacking football. Have you noticed as soon as we switched out McTominay for Casemiro, we've been dominating possession? We played McTominay. He did play well. We got a few wins, but we were playing counter-attacking football with McTominay. As soon as we bring in Casemiro, we play this possession-based football because Casemiro gives us the ability to play possession-based football. And right now, I beg that Lisandro Martinez, Casemiro and Martial can stay fit all season because those 3 players will be integral in defence, midfield and attack to how we play. I think the attack is Martial. You look at Lisandro Martinez, he is our most important defender. The way he plays on the ball, he's so integral to that defence. But also you've got to go and look at players like Casemiro as well because he just gives the ability to dominate possession, control the midfield. The things that Casemiro adds to the United squad is absolutely crazy. And I pray that he does not pick up an injury because the guy, and all I'm going to say about Casemiro and all I can say about Casemiro, he is levels above. Like, there's no other way to describe it. He is absolutely levels above as well. Yeah, guys, please do smash that like button and subscribe down below if you're new. Alice for PM, we do need a new one as well. And the argument is we should start the next game seeing that Varane is injured because Victor hasn't put a foot wrong when playing. Yeah, I think that Lindelof should play over Harry right now. As well. And are we going to stand for Maguire coming back in? That's the question. Does Maguire come back in straight away and put the captain's armband on? I don't think he does. I don't think, unless Lindelof's done something bad, I think it should be Lindelof and Martinez at the back. But I have a feeling because he's Harry Maguire, he will get back in as well. And sometimes Casemiro gets done, but Casemiro is just a class as well. And McTominay is like driving a Chevrolet. Casemiro is like a Rolls Royce. That's a good way of describing it. Casemiro is Rolls bloody Royce as well. And normally Argentinian players have to hate Brazilian players, vice versa. This is not the case at United. I just love the South American passion. I love the South American passion. Someone said Casemiro scored 1 goal. Why are you praising like Ronaldo and Zidane? Casemiro's job isn't to score goals. I'm not praising Casemiro because he scored a goal. I'm praising Casemiro because the last 3 or 4 games he's been absolutely bloody excellent and he's a level above. But what I love about the South American players is that crazy passion. It's Anthony Casemiro and Lisandro Martinez. They've just got a different level of passion, don't they? Like, he actually just ran and just grabbed some fan. Like, that fan, it was love in life. Like, it's just the level of passion. And even if you look at, if we look at Casemiro, Casemiro, the way the goal meant to him, the fighting spirit, that's something that United haven't had in a while. If I can find the picture of Casemiro, it doesn't want to come up now. Why is the Casemiro picture not coming? There it is. But what I liked and what Ten Hag's post-game was that, the fighting spirit after going 1-0 down, the passion, you can see what it means to the players. 6-7 months ago, it felt like none of the players wanted to beat United. They didn't care about this club. They had no passion for this club. In the space of a couple of months, we've gone from a team where their body language is given up, shrugged, don't care, no fighting spirit, to bring in your Casemiro, your Anthony, and your Sandro Martinez, and this team is fighting. This team has got spirit. This team has got passion. This team is like screaming, going, "Oh, I love it!" And like the energy is so different. And I always say with teams, 1, it's about ability. 2, it's about manager. But obviously 3, with a team, it's about the energy. It's about the team spirit. It's about the work rate to get the best results. And I think right now, because the Man United players are working harder than ever, because they're fighting together, we are getting better results because of it. And that's something that Ten Hag's obviously brought through to the players as well. People, I'm asking everyone in the chat, Maguire or Lindelof, and I think most of you keep going with sell Maguire, keep Lindelof for that 3rd spot as well. And Alice, would you blame Erik Ten Hag for the wrong substitutes against Chelsea? Lou, yes and no, because 1, I look at the sub bench and I go, what could Ten Hag have done? He had really nothing on the bench. Maybe he could have brought on a Langer earlier and moved Rashford to the left. Maybe that's what I would have done. But he didn't have many options on the bench. Maybe I'd have brought on Zidane, it would have all gone actually Pelestri, but you just don't know. It's a risk. So in that sense, it's not Ten Hag's fault. In the second sense, I would have taken Sancho off. And I think Fred coming on was the right decision because he was good against Tottenham. But Fred came on was crap. McTominay came on was crap. Fred on the pitch, we were crap. Shock. But, it's not really Ten Hag's fault. Like, he didn't make the best subs, but at the same time, he couldn't have made much better subs. I think he made the right decision taking Sancho off. The only thing I would have said is I think he should have put Rashford on the left a lot quicker. Rashford's not a striker. I don't think you need eyes to see that Rashford's not a striker. Like, I do really like Marcus Rashford, but he ain't a striker, and I don't like it when he plays striker because he's not good enough as a striker. He doesn't take the chances. When you get 3-4 clear-cut chances a game, you're not taking them. You're not a striker or a winger. And with Cesar Azpilicueta being very iffy at the moment, I think Marcus Rashford could have caused a lot more problems being on the left-hand side for United, in my opinion, as well. Someone said Axel Tuanzebe over Harry Maguire, says David. Tuanzebe's not fit. Tuanzebe's injured apparently as well. And what's wrong with Sancho? I don't think there's anything wrong with Sancho in like a bad sense. Like, I do like Jadon Sancho. I think he's a fantastic player, but he's just been not taking on his man, been really iffy lately. Like, just not been good. Like, he's not been awful, but he's not doing anything. He gets the ball and he's just like meh. He's just looks like a player that's. Rashford gets the ball when he's ready to take on his man. And yes, Rashford can lose the ball and be frustrating, but Rashford's ready to dive with energy. Sancho kind of gets the ball and just does that kind of bland pass as well. The next 6 games should be straight wins. We look at the next 6 games because I think we've got 6 games until the World Cup. So let's go have a look at this. So we look at matches and we look at United. So we've got Sheriff, which should be a win. West Ham, which will be a difficult game, but I think that will be a win the way we're playing. Sociedad, which I hope is a win because that would then mean that we can top the group and we don't have to play a Europa League, a Champions League dropout. So that's 3 wins, hopefully. Villa, that should be a win, but they've just got rid of Gerrard. Trust our luck. We don't get to play Villa when they've got shitty Gerrard. And now Villa are probably good again. We'll play them. Villa again when they're good. But hopefully they knocked us out last time, Villa, did they? Did Villa knock us out or did we knock Villa out? And then we got knocked out the next round to Middlesbrough. We got it. Villa again, Fulham, which would be a difficult game. I mean, we could win all those games, but I think Villa and Fulham will be really difficult. And I think we can win 5 out of 6 of those games, definitely. But after the World Cup, we've got Forest, Wolves, Bournemouth. We've got like 3 of the shittest teams after the World Cup. So hopefully that can ease us into their Man City, Arsenal, Palace, Leeds, Leicester, Brentford. But it's mad to think, it's not long to the World Cup, is it? About 3 weeks. It's about 3. When's the last game? November 13th. It's 3 weeks away. Jeez. 3 weeks and then no Man United for 6 weeks. That's long when you think about it. That is really long. I'm not really looking forward to the World Cup. I just want to watch Ten Hag and his Reds. I don't know if anyone's like that. I don't like that the World Cup's in winter. It just really disrupts the season. And I don't like the international break. Of course, it's the World Cup, so it won't be like an international break. It will actually be interesting games. But I get so into the season and I'm so into Ten Hag and watching Man United, especially if we continue to play well these next few games, that, having to go 6 weeks without United can disrupt momentum. It can disrupt what Ten Hag's building. There could be injuries. I just don't like the World Cups in winter. It's such an inconvenient time, isn't it? It's really annoying, but, it is what it is. But what will be brilliant is if in the winter, in the January transfer window, United can get linked to buying a load of new players and we can have loads of transfer news to talk about on the channel. I might do match reactions to England games throughout the World Cup as well. But it took Arteta 2 years to do what Ten Hag's done in 10 games. We're challenging next year, God willing. I mean, to be fair, I see what I see in Ten Hag now is what Arteta did last season. And I see Ten Hag probably finishing 5th because the board won't back him in January. And a few idiot fans going, and he finished 5th, Ten Hag out. Look at what he had to deal with at the start of the season. And then next season in the summer, when Ten Hag gets a strike and when Ten Hag gets his players in, Ten Hag really looking good. I see in Ten Hag what I saw in Arteta, but I almost feel like Ten Hag needs a year less than Arteta because Ten Hag started to do what Arteta did last season, this season. I don't think he'll be finishing 8th. I think he might be finishing 5th and just missing out on top 4 unless he gets investment in January. But I see what Ten Hag's building. I see a good future under Eric Ten Hag. And I do think you're right. I see, Arteta had to change the culture at Arsenal, had to get rid of the big names, bring some youth through, change the culture. He did that. Arteta had 2 seasons where he had to play this negative counter-attacking football because he didn't have the players in. Arteta slowly got the players and slowly transitioned the way he played nice, good attacking football last season for Arsenal. However, remember, Arsenal then obviously didn't have a striker, weren't scoring many goals, were looking good but weren't scoring many goals. Then they got Jesus in the summer, then they got the striker, and then they got those few final signings in. Saliba came back, just gave them solidarity in defence because Gabriel can be a bit iffy. And Arsenal are, up there challenging for the league this season. And I think give Ten Hag the signings he wants, and I believe he could challenge for the league. And that sounds crazy. And I'm saying, look, it's going to take time. It's the Glazers. They won't give him all the signings he wants in 2023. You probably have to wait to 2024. But I just think give Ten Hag a good striker, give Ten Hag a ball carrying midfielder, give Ten Hag someone that can give cover at right back, and give Ten Hag the progressive goalkeeper he wants, and hopefully a Gakpo in January on top of all of that. And I do think, wow, I wonder what Ten Hag could achieve. I look at Ten Hag and I see the foundations of he's changed the mentality at the club. He's slowly transitioning the style and the way of football we play. The players are buying into him. We're seeing improvements in Luke Shaw, Diego Dalot. We're seeing that his signings are all settling in. We see there's a system. We see there's a pattern of play. We're dominating games, but most importantly, we see Ten Hag's coaching wins. Away to Stamford Bridge against Graham Potter, he coached a win in that first half, and then obviously we dropped off in the second half. That's not his fault, it's the players. He coached a big win versus Spurs against Conte. He coached a big win against Newcastle, which is a tough team. The players didn't take it. The reason we're not winning the last few games, and when we drop points, it's not on Ten Hag. Ten Hag coaches a win, the players drop points. So that always says to me, Ten Hag's capable of winning things. He just needs the players that he wants. Just got a super chat here that I'm going to scroll down to. Happy Diwali United for life. Big up. Thanks for the super chat. Not sure what that means, but big up for the super chat as well. And World Cup during Prem is a scandal. All money, but come on, England. I just think it's such an annoying time, the World Cup as well. We're 40 likes away from 200 likes, people. So make sure you smash that like button as well. Timmy says people are hyping Arsenal too much. Their bench is championship level after Jesus, Saka, Martinelli. I did say with Arsenal, I think City will win the league because I look at Arsenal's bench and I think that's not going to cope post-World Cup heavy fixtures. Unless Arsenal can cope well in Europe, I think, and don't get many injuries, I don't think they will. And fair play to Man United, they kept going, and at the end, even after losing a late goal, they got one themselves. The best thing about the Chelsea game was I thought after that penalty, I thought that's it, that's game over. I really thought that Chelsea game was game over. There was about less than 10 minutes left, and they got back and they fought and they got that goal as well. What will it be if Pochettino's manager? I don't think we'd be in as good a position right now if Poch was manager, and I think we'd have players like Dybala and players we don't want at United if Poch was manager. And Sancho needs to play in Fernandez's position. I've always said with Sancho he's been poor. I'd actually drop Sancho for Elanga next game, or put Rashford on the left and Ronaldo striker, but I don't think Ten Hag's going to put Ronaldo straight back in the squad. I'd actually drop Sancho next game for someone like Elanga or Pellistri, just to give him a kick up the arse. But I would like to see Sancho play more in that central role. I've always thought that Sancho could do a good job in that central role. He doesn't quite have that blistering pace, and I think he's quite a great outlet. And I would like to see, because Bruno doesn't really have any competition for his role. There's no one really around to give Bruno the challenge, give Bruno the competition he needs. I guess there's Eriksen, but Ten Hag doesn't seem to play Eriksen in that more advanced role. Donny is injured. I think Donny will be coming back from injury in the next few weeks. But it'd be really interesting to see what Sancho could do in that role, and maybe we'll see him in a Europa League game. I'm not sure as well. Big Scotto's Casemiro a few pints. I want to see Sancho out right next week. I'd like to see Sancho on the right hand side as well. I'd like to see Garnacho get a chance as well. But the one thing that's disappointing about Ten Hag is he's not taken too much of a risk with the youth. We've not seen much of Garnacho and Pellistri yet, and I'd like to see more of them, especially considering our issue with scoring goals. I'd like to see him take a risk, how Arteta took a risk with like Nketiah, Saka, Martinelli. I'd really like to see him do the same. Ten Hag doesn't seem to be bringing many of the youth through, but it is what it is, isn't it? And Sancho needs to be dropped for the bench for a few games. I like Sancho, and I don't think he's been awful. Like, he's not been dreadful, but he's not been efficient. He's not been making things happen. And as much as I like Sancho, I can't give him some kind of favoritism or some kind of bias. You know, he needs to make things happen. Elanga comes on, takes on his man and does a run and did more than Sancho in the majority of the game. Elanga did. I found Elanga was more impactful than Sancho. But, I mean, if we go back to Twitter, if we go back to the United news and we go back to the stories before we end the video on Gakpo and all of that, I do think, other than Sancho, I was impressed with the majority of the United squad last season as well. And I think we do need Ronaldo. I'd like to see, with Martial still injured and probably not going to be back for the midweek game, I would personally myself like to see Sancho on the left, Ronaldo up top, and Anthony on the right, but I'm not sure if he's going to bring in Ronaldo right away as well. And this is my thought process on the game. I thought Luke Shaw, Casemiro, Lissandro Martinez were brilliant. I think the squad depth is an issue at United. I think Sancho was looking poor. I think we need a new striker. I like Rashford on the left wing, and I believe that Martial was missed. They were my points from yesterday's game. And if I'm trying to see what I can find here, I think that, from that game, United is screaming out for these two players, and that's just my opinion as well. Anthony deserves a chance. You mean Anthony Elanga as well? Do I watch Darren Farley's content? I have no idea who he is, Daniel. So no. And I think our games have been must-win so far. That's why he's not experimented with youth. I agree. I think with the Europa League, we're having lost that first game to Real Sociedad puts United in a position where they have to win all their other games, which could be a reason behind the lack of experimentation with certain youth players. I do agree with you in that sense there. I think I'd like to have seen the youth play more. I'd like to see Pellistri given a go, because I think there's a real good player in Pellistri. He gets picked for Uruguay. I know he's just come back from injury, but I thought he was very good in pre-season. Pellistri is that one player I'd really like to see given a go at Manchester United. I don't know your thoughts on that, but Pellistri is a player that's really impressed me as well. People say Elanga should start at 9, Rashford off the left. I agree. I just think I need Rashford off the left again. He's not a striker, but what I really need is we're just begging that Martial stays fit as well. We also need a strong reserve of players. Exactly. Varane's injured now. That's back to Maguire. There was a meme actually that Varane was crying because that he was injured, because that meant Maguire was back as well. But someone said this may sound strange, but how can we miss something we've never had really? I mean, Martial. It's because whenever Martial has played, which has been very rare, United look like 10 times more of a goal threat. Like Martial's averaging a goal or assist every 20 minutes. It's crazy. But I think it's just that we need a striker fit so Rashford can go on the left with Martial as well. I think what Martial brings is that little bit in link-up play, and I think just a lot of things that I think in general, if you watch Manchester United, you'll say, yeah, Man United are missing this, Man United are missing that, and you look at Martial and you go, well, Martial will bring this, Martial will bring that, and that is what Manchester United are missing as well. Guys, make sure you smash that like button, and of course subscribe down below to Alex Talks Football if you're new. In today's video, we spoke a little bit about the Ronaldo situation. Ronaldo returns to training tomorrow, but before he returns to training, he has a meeting with Ten Hag to decide if he can return to training or not, where Ten Hag is going to make Ronaldo apologise to his teammates tomorrow, and tomorrow we will get up the Ronaldo apology video. And Ten Hag wants Ronaldo to apologise to his teammates as well. I want your thoughts on the Roy Keane-Ronaldo situation. Is Roy Keane right to defend Ronaldo as well? That was something we didn't really speak about. Ten Hag obviously spoke about the Ronaldo situation and said it's about sending a message to the team. It doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, what your age is, what your reputation is. Everyone's treated equally and everyone has to be disciplined as well. We spoke about the Van Der Sar links, which seen Van Der Sar kind of killing off the links that he's linked to United, and said he's still good at Ajax as well. We spoke about United going for Chicago Fire striker John Duran, who's 18 years of age, who's valued at 10 million. And we also spoke about the Gakpo links to United. But the last story I want to get into, guys, and a really interesting story here, but before I even end the live stream, is a really, really good story here on Anthony. And for me, this says a lot about Anthony's character. We know Anthony was desperate for the United move, begging for the United move. And Anthony actually not only begged for the United move, like did everything he could to get the United move with his agent, but Anthony was given a bonus that if he had stayed one more season at Ajax, he would have received several million. He could have got more money staying another season at Ajax, but apparently Anthony was just desperate and begging for that United move. And it's so nice to sign players that would do anything to play for your club. We've had players in the past where I think we signed them, they've been on big wages, and we're like, are they just coming here for the money because we're in the Europa League? But with Anthony, we had a player that turned down money, that did everything, that went against, shouldn't really done what he did to Ajax to get the move. But you could just tell, as soon as Anthony stepped on the pitch, he was dreaming that he was at United. I mean, that celebration versus Arsenal was cold. Like, you looked at Anthony and you were like, he wants to be here. This is his dream. He is living his dream. He will do anything for that badge. And I like that all the players Erik ten Hag signed are Man United players that you look at and you'll go, these guys, they will do anything for the badge. They will do anything to play for United. They know what it means to play for United. And I think I look at that, and that is something we've massively been missing. But look, guys, people say Anthony's not Mbappe. I'm not trying to big up Anthony or anything like that as well. I'm just saying I love his passion and all of that. But look, guys, please do smash that like button. But yeah, as you said, Anthony's not Mbappe. Anthony has the right mentality, and Anthony's mentality is absolutely needed at United. I love his mentality. But I just wanted to say, guys, smash that like button, and please do subscribe down below if you're new. Remember, I go live every single evening on the Alice Talks Football channel, keeping you guys up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and more. Got a transfer news show tomorrow. Got a short video out tomorrow as well. Got watch-alongs Thursdays and Sundays as well. So please do subscribe if you're new. Smash the like button. I'm going to end the live stream here, but I want to big up everybody in the chat. Sorry if I didn't reply to all the live chats. I just, can't read them all. Make sure you subscribe and post notification bell on, because I will be live about 6:30 UK time tomorrow. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.